Hello. Today I'm going to discuss the relationship between the learning sciences and mind-brain education, two closely related but varied fields of study. These slides will cover definitions, goals, and origins of the learning sciences and mind-brain education, as well as some of the contributors to the fields and contributions of each field of study to teaching. You may notice the similarities and crossover between the learning sciences and mind-brain education. For example, they both study teaching and learning, but they do have varied foci. The learning sciences is an interdisciplinary field, including neuroscience, psychology, education, and others, that studies teaching and learning. Here's a quote from Hoadley, 2018. "The learning sciences is a field that studies how people learn and how to support learning." Mind-brain education is a transdisciplinary, cross-cultural discipline that integrates cognitive neuroscience, developmental psychology, educational psychology, and educational neuroscience. Here's a quote from Tokuhama Espinosa, 2021. "What do we really know about human learning and how the brain functions? And what can be leveraged within our own classrooms to better improve learning activities?" Understanding some of the goals of these fields of study may help tease out the ways in which they differ. The goal of the learning sciences is to clarify how people learn best, under which conditions, and how human variability influences outcomes. The goal of mind-brain education is to join biology, cognitive science, development, and education in order to create a sound grounding of education and research. The learning sciences uses knowledge of cognitive and social processes to design more effective learning environments, materials, and situations, while mind-brain education brings together three complex fields and attempts to make sense of their interactions, differences, and commonalities. The learning sciences looks at what we can provide learners based on research, and mind-brain education prepares educators to be learning scientists. Because the learning sciences is a collaboration between so many different fields of study, there are seeds of influence dating back many centuries. However, its emergence as a scientific field began early in the 20th century. In 1991, three major events institutionalized the learning sciences. The first International Conference of the Learning Sciences was held. The Journal of the Learning Sciences was first published, and Northwestern University was the first school to offer a degree in learning sciences. Like the learning sciences, mind-brain education is rooted in ideas that are centuries old, though developmental psychology and educational psychology are most accepted as the precursors to mind-brain education. This field of study is relatively young. In 1997, Kurt Fisher and Howard Gardner introduced the first mind-brain education course at Harvard University. And then, in 1999, Harvard University and MIT hosted the first Learning in the Brain conference. In 2001, Harvard University School of Education offered the first master's program in mind-brain education. In 2004, the International Mind, Brain, and Education Society was founded at the Harvard University School of Education. The first conference was held in 2007. The following people are but a few of the contributors to the learning sciences. Jean Piaget is known as the father of cognitive learning theory. He identified 4 stages of cognitive development that are still accepted today: sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. Lev Vygotsky is known for his socio-cultural theory and the zone of proximal development. His work aimed to integrate mind, brain, and education. Jerome Bruner was a psychologist who championed the constructivist approach to learning, specifically introducing scaffolding theory. Benjamin Bloom was a psychologist who identified 6 stages of human cognition. Bloom's taxonomy provided a common language for teachers to discuss learning and assessment. Howard Gardner is a developmental psychologist who provided the theory of multiple intelligences, which says that people have individual ways in which they process data. We do not all learn the same way. R. Keith Sawyer is an American psychologist known for his expertise on creativity, innovation, and learning. As you can see, there is some shared influence over our two fields of study. Notably, Lev Vygotsky with his sociocultural theory in the zone of proximal development, and Jean Piaget, who taught us that children think differently than adults. Other contributors are as follows. Kurt Fischer, who combined the approaches of Piaget and Vygotsky in his skill theory, or human development as a dynamic system. He is also attributed to the development of the mind-brain education course at Harvard. Paula Talal is an experimental psychologist who collaborated with others to organize teacher-friendly, brain-based educator conferences. Tracy Tokuhama Espinosa is an educational researcher, educator, and consultant with a focus on mind-brain education. She has written and produced a bounty of articles, books, and videos on the field. Michael Merzenich is a neuropsychologist who studies neuroplasticity, a foundation of mind-brain education that describes the brain's ability to change, adapt, and heal. Here we have an illustration of the many fields that make up the learning sciences. They include education, design studies, cognitive science, linguistics, instructional design, neuroscience, psychology, and computer science. There are 6 principles of mind-brain education science. 1. Uniqueness. No two brains are identical. 2. Different potentials. Learning capacities are individual. 3. Prior experiences inform new learning. 4. Our brains change constantly with experience. 5. The brain is neuroplastic. And 6. All new learning involves memory and attention. These two fields of study have contributed to teaching, learning, and training in many ways. It would be impossible to list them all here, but here are just a few. Learning science teaches us about metacognition and the power behind articulating and self-reflecting on one's learning. One of the most central topics in learning sciences research is how to support students in educationally beneficial reflection. Sawyer, 2008. The learning sciences bridge the gap between research and practice. Collaborations between the various learning sciences support the development of scientifically founded, learner-focused curricula, classroom design, and instruction. The learning sciences have provided us with information about how people learn best, under what conditions, and how human variability influences outcomes. We know definitively that children are not empty vessels waiting to be filled with information. Mind-brain education highlights and normalizes the importance of prior experiences in the construction of knowledge, the experience-dependent nature, and the uniqueness of the human brain. Among other things, this information allows learning scientists to provide scaffolding for their students and to continue the effort of dispelling harmful neuromyths. Mind-brain education encourages teachers to be self-reflective and active learning scientists. Doing so provides teachers with the ability to ground their practice in both philosophy and science. This means they have the knowledge and language to determine, explain, and even defend their methods. Teaching through a mind-brain education lens means being conscious of how we draw on student motivation, attention, and memory to provide the most effective learning experiences. Mind-brain education is intentional about teacher training as a necessity for positive change in the field of education. This presentation represents research found in the following titles: Mind, Brain, and Education, The Birth of a New Science. Mind, Brain, and Education, Building a Scientific Groundwork for Learning and Teaching. Optimizing Learning Implications of Learning Sciences Research. Mind, Brain, and Education, A Comprehensive Guide to the New Brain-Based Teaching. The Learning Sciences Framework in Educational Leadership. Bringing the Neuroscience of Learning to Online Teaching, an Educator's Handbook. Thank you.